Nice. Okay, you see it?
Mm-hmm. I did it. I already counted down.
Yeah, so let me see. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry, I'm struggle streaming today. I got a special guest. Adrian, I see you in the chat box. Give me one if you can hear us. Let me check my stream health.
Oh, I see. It just came up on my phone notification.
Okay, yeah, we got two people on. Well, I think we just went live now. Adrian, give me a one in the box if you can hear us. What's up, B2B? Glad you can make it. I'm still tired from your your live last night, man. Shout out to you. Give us a one in the okay, B2B with the one. I appreciate it. Great stream last night. How are you doing, Adrian Nash? So we're gonna give it a couple minutes. What's up, Casual Economist? Let me see. Get back over to stream.
Turn my phone down.
So I'm glad you can join us. Let's go ahead and get started. Let me bring up my little script. So I told you from if you've been following me, man, I'm tired too. That's why I love working from home straight. Yeah, shout out. I actually took today off, man. I deserve a 4-day weekend, B2B. But let's go and get started. I told you on my channel we're going to do bigger things from a society standpoint. I'm going to start that off with access to justice, freedom and education. We're going to do mass incarceration, bail bonds. So those are some of the big cyber technology stuff. But we'll try to meet. I'm calling her my attorney, but like the lead attorney, she's not my attorney. She's her attorney, right? So this is only for educational purposes and all that good stuff. So we won't get anybody in trouble. We're not giving legal advice, financial advice, emotional advice, psychology advice. It's all education. We ain't giving y'all no advices now. So, but I'm gonna let her introduce yourself. You know how we do it. If you got any questions, just throw them in the chat. So, Miss Meredith Hammer, can you introduce yourself to the audience?
So, of course, how are you? This is interesting to me because, you and I talk all the time.
Facts.
We've been friends for forever. But yes, my name is Meredith Hammer. I am an attorney. I practice primarily in the areas of probate, wills, trust, and estate planning, and civil. I do civil work, breach of contract works when it comes to litigation in the courts. So I'm on the civil side, but I also have an undergraduate degree, a bachelor's degree, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science from Purdue University that I received over almost 30 years now ago. And I have done some work, I guess, mixing the two backgrounds over the years, legal and technology backgrounds. I've taught at Ivy Tech in Indianapolis and at IUPUI. I am from Indianapolis, as you know, and born and raised. And then currently I live in Chicago, and I'm licensed to practice in Indiana, Illinois, and the District of Columbia, interestingly enough, because I lived in DC for a couple of years. So, yeah, that's me, a little bit about me. Oh, and I have one doggy. That's my family. I don't have, personally, I am single, no kids, and have one dog, fat dog that's in behind me.
Facts. I'm sure we get into other stuff like that. So I always tell people you need to, if you can, get a person that can tell you no on your team and try to get some legal representation on your team. So I'm old, but we go way back. She's one of the few people that can tell me I can't do something. Now I still might do it, but that's a person on your team because you have a lot of hanger owners that's just trying to use you, but you need somebody on your team that can look in your eye and say, that's a stupid ass idea. So for me, that's her.
I don't quite say it like that, but I may say it to you like that.
Yeah, we be getting into it. But it's nothing but love. But you need somebody on your team to tell you, that's That's a crazy idea, right? Um, so that's one and the same. You try, like you said, get a legal person on your team and somebody to
So
tell you
Adrian
no.
says, cheers to multiple bar cards. Hey, Adrian. Yep. I
Yeah, and
am.
she's always talking about probate and trust, and she's gonna give a class on my channel talking about probate, trust, and wills. We want to make sure when you get all that money in IT, you can pass it down to who you want when you want, and you won't lose it in
All the money in IT and even in real estate. And,
yeah,
there's a lot
anything. Right.
happening now with people in their health, um, especially related to COVID. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of, or should be a lot of discussion around creating like an estate plan and, a healthcare advanced directive, and so that's the conversation over there in that area of estate law and estate planning. And people of color, Black people who look like you and I don't typically aren't well informed, especially on those topics. So certainly, like you said, as you're growing in your field, especially technology field, and you're making all this money and investing it wisely, that you want to really protect your assets, and be able to pass it down to the kids and to the grandkids.
Facts,
So I
facts,
am definitely about that life.
facts, facts. Adrian Nash said AHCD, and I know what a POA is. I don't know what a
Advanced
HAC.
healthcare directive.
Oh yeah, you did one for my mother. I should know what that is.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah.
did my docs. I had a POA, the financial POA in that, right? I think those were the
Yeah,
three.
you have the POA, probably what she's talking about is the financial POA, which is extremely important, and then the healthcare healthcare POA, right, or advanced healthcare directive is equally important. And so, like you said, I did one for your mom, as I recall, and then my mom too, who recently, both of our mothers recently passed away within the last
Thanks,
couple of years. And
thanks.
so for me, it was extremely, extremely important to have that the state plan in place, because when my mom passed away unexpectedly, and we just took care of everything very easily and seamlessly related to her business affairs, the affairs of her life, the
Right,
business. We just took care of it very easily, and it allowed us time to grieve and to, although we're still grieving and still working through it, it just really was super helpful to not have to worry about those things, any issues, and everybody knew my family, my siblings, we were all just super grateful to
right.
be able to have had that done. So
So that's
yeah.
coming up. I'm cutting her off. That's coming up on the
Oh
next
yeah, I
stream.
could talk about it for a long time.
Yeah,
We're gonna
that's
have to do a series
we are.
on it, because it's a lot to cover, and it's a lot of terminology. And part of what I want to do, well, I'll let you talk about me running for judge, but I was going to start talking about what I wanted to do once I got on the bench.
Yeah. Let's hit these four slides and we'll go into your judge there.
Okay.
We'll do that. So we're going to get started. So she just told you some of the higher level society stuff that's going to come on this channel. I was kind of going back and forth, but I was like, yeah, we need to talk about powers and wills. I need to really be on everybody's channel in the black sector, black manosphere, even in the white part, right? Everybody needs to figure out what they need to do in estate planning. So that's coming on the series. I haven't told her I'm gonna have her do it Monday on MLK Day, but we'll talk about that after the
That's
stream.
fun. I mean, I'm ready. I just did a 2-part series at the
Church.
for one of the churches here on Zoom. And they wanted me to come back and to continue doing it, because you can get into all kinds of topics. I can go into, see, Adrian is distracting me. She's like, yes, ma'am, your honor. Girl, don't be calling me that. I get real distracted with that. I love that.
Let's, bro. I think Adrian, aren't you a paralegal if I remember right? Put that in the box. But let's get started. We're going to talk about
Okay.
access to justice. So I thought, and we talk about this a lot. The first part is we go back about forth about that. I'm gonna read. I think it's 2 slides on the digital divide, right?
Okay.
So what is the digital divide? The digital divide refers to the gap between demographics and regions that have access to modern information, communication technology, and those that don't. Though the terms now encompass the technical and the financial ability to utilize available technology, along with the access or lack of access to the internet, the gap refers to the constantly shifting with the development of technology. When the term first came out in the 20th century, for example, it described the gap between those that had a cell phone and those who did not.
Mm.
Hold on real quick. I got one more slide. I got to get my monitor handle. So just a few takeaway terms. The digital divide encompasses the technical and financial ability to utilize technology. Digital divide exists between developed and developed countries, urban and rural populations,
Mm-hmm.
young and educated versus old and less educated, men and women. The urban-rural divide is the single biggest factor in the digital divide. I disagree with that. I think it's money, but we'll come along when we start talking about that. The consequences of the digital divide includes isolation, which can affect mental health, educational
Mm-hmm.
barriers in post-secondary education, moves online, worsening gender discrimination. Uh,
Mm.
the the pandemic has exposed the differences in digital divide in the U.S., such as among
Mm-hmm.
children focused on attending remote and less affluent communities where people have struggled to get vaccination appointment. The
Mm-hmm.
bipartisan infrastructure investment job act includes $65 billion for narrowing the digital divide. I'm in
Hmm.
Indiana. I ain't seen no $65 billion come Indiana's way, but
And I'm in Cook County, Illinois, and the kids here, that was a big part of the conversation when COVID pandemic hit, and the schools went remote. The poor kids here, in a lot of cases, the poor Black kids in Chicago, Illinois, didn't have any access to internet.
Indiana too.
I am I can't even believe I'm even having this conversation in 2022 that the kids right down the street here did not have access to the internet, to get their education for a long time, and a lot of them still don't. And so that's been a big part of the conversation in the last couple of weeks as the kids were going back to school, and the teachers union, they've been fighting, and keeping the kids remote versus keeping them in school. So there's a lot of a discussion around that, and one of the issues is access to the technology to be able to get access to education, right? So I know that was the topic, one of the topics of this. So, but yeah, I see engineering cannabis says the law and technology are now in sync. You
That's not
think?
true. No, because
Because
I'm looking at you because we were talking about that one law where they want you to come in and you had to get that stamp with a raised seal for. I forgot what that was
okay, yeah.
about.
So
Talk about that. It's not in
so
sync
for
quite yet,
me, the law
engineering.
and technology have never been in sync, and I just feel like the my understanding and my experience, since I've been an attorney, which has been over 20 years, and having the background in technology for almost 30 years, my experience has been not that. Like the legal field has always been, resistant, and slow to come to terms with the use of technology. So, for example, a big example of that is here in Cook County. Like I told you, I come from Indianapolis, Indiana. I was born and raised in Marion County, Indiana, right? So while there, I saw the use of a case management system in the court system. Several years ago, there was the implementation of the case management system in the court systems. Well, fast forward to today in Cook County, Illinois, one of the second largest court system in the country, Cook County, Illinois. The circuit court here is just now implementing a case management system in the court systems. And so I have been a part of helping to get that implemented, but it has been a beast to do. I think one of the biggest things is because the volume of court cases that are handled here in Cook County, over a million a year. But a lot of that stuff, a lot of those cases are handled on paper, right? So when I go to court here now, going into court, and actually the pandemic has changed that a lot, by forcing us to use technology. But before the pandemic, you go to court here in Cook County, you have to take paper and carbon copies to get your orders. I mean, what is, I was appalled, right? Carbon copy, right? And then what you were mentioning was the raised seal, the raised stamp, like the judge's stamp or the clerk stamp when they seal, seal a document. It's a raised seal. So that was still being used right before the pandemic. And so the pandemic, like I said, forced the use of an electronic stamp, it forced it. They were, the courts, the clerk's office, I was a deputy general counsel for the clerk of the circuit court. We're running around, those raised seals are very expensive too. And, it has to be done. It has to be done by a physical human being. So, I'm still waiting now. We had a case in probate courts, a hearing 2 months ago. I'm still waiting for the stamped orders to get to me. It's been 2 months. So, you can imagine how the impact that the lack of the use of technology can have on an access to justice, situation. Like I said, in the probate court, you got someone who is, mom and them passed away. They are done everything they need to do to go to probate court, right? They done paid all these attorney's fees, right? The house, though, has taxes due on it. It could easily take upwards of a year for us to get through probate, just because the courts are backed up, just because it's taken us forever to get these orders that we have to go and take to whomever, all the different investment account holders or the tax property appeals people. It can have a big impact on access to what we need to have access to in order to save a home, save a family home, and it may end up getting lost anyways, just because of the timing of it all. So I believe that the use of technology in the legal system can really be helpful. It's helping me out a lot. Like I said, just having the forced use of it, and even having Zoom hearings, right? I've been practicing in Illinois and Indiana right now because of the pandemic. I'm able to have my litigants on, a Zoom, hearing call, it's kind of like this, right? Where we have, the judge and other litigants and opposing counsel. We're right on the Zoom. And so I'm hoping, and I'm really trying to push, that we continue to use technology in the court systems as we go forward. So just a little bit about, I have a lot of ideas related to using technology in our court system.
So do you think that's because, especially in Cook County, even in Indiana, we have a lot of older judges who are not technology savvy, and a lot of states don't have like Tyler or a case management system. They still rolling it out. So do you think the age of the judge has an impact? And of course, the case systems are not rolled out in every state.
It's definitely now a time to have a new, fresh perspective, a new vision. Definitely those, attorneys. You have to be an attorney before you become a judge. But new judges and attorneys who have, experience and the skill set, like me, right? I have a background in technology and process improvement and process and engineering. And there are very few judges who have that experience. There are very few judges who look like me, who are Black women judges who have that experience, remote experience. So I have been told, as we've been going through rolling out this case management system, people are reluctant to change. They, from being in the technology field, people hate change. And so, yeah, I've had judges tell me, oh yeah, I'll use the computer as a paperweight on my desk. I've literally had judges tell me that because they do not want to use it. They're refusing. They have clerks, right, who serve as sort of like their assistants. and are stamping the damn. I mean stamping the order with the carbon copy and pushing paper around. But when I go over on 26th in California at the criminal courts, most of those judges do not have computers. They just don't have computers. They're sitting there with pen and paper, and I am just amazed.
You're not flying through with computers as quick as you think. I mean, it sounds good, but we have older judges that are pushing back on technology. Shout out to Engineering Cannabis. I think we got the technology. People just don't want to adopt the technology. They're a little older, so it's not being implemented at the speed.
And they're just old school. They're just old school, and they're used to doing things in a certain way. And judges aren't used to being told what to do.
Facts.
So you're dealing with like sort of that ego and just cultural. A lot of times it's just cultural stuff. A lot of male judges, they just don't want to be older white male judges who think this new wave stuff is for the birds. So that's why I'm running for judge.
Facts. So give everybody
help me,
a little background on your judge.
This is where the support comes in. Folks need to get better elected officials that can push their agendas instead of seat warmers. Hey, I hear ya. But a lot of that goes with the money. There's politics is a concentrated expression of economics. So I'm running for judge, right? I'm running for judge in Cook County, Illinois. I'm super excited about it. It has been a journey indeed. I had started running back in June of 2021, so about 6 months. But for a lot of the reasons we've just discussed, I am, really making a bid to sit on the bench, in order to really help to bring about change. I want to be in the mix, there in the court systems that's just on a higher level, so that we can really help, like I said, to even implement the technology that needs to be pushed. Pushing my agenda, as Helmut Chili said, to try to keep technology in the court systems and even improve upon it. Because trust me, a lot of these judges, they're not wanting to continue using it even after the pandemic. And even the attorneys for a lot of reasons related to finances. Billable hours is something that I have been told that a lot of the attorneys, when you're down at the courthouse, standing in a cattle call for a hearing, you may be representing 3 or 4 clients, and it can take forever when you're standing there in person. So you're billing, right? Versus jumping on a Zoom call, from your house, right, when the time comes up for a Zoom. So the efficiency that I like in being able to use the technology that will really help the clients get better access to justice. In a lot of cases, those people who are making money off of those inefficiencies don't like it, right? So you're fighting that battle there too.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised when we were talking about when you drive down there, you billing 6 clients because you're handling 6 cases that day, right? You pick up gas, you billing 6 clients for the same gas, right? So
I mean that's the way that generally, I've been told attorneys do it. I'm very, I'm pretty strict about what I bill for clients, and I try to keep it, the amount of money that clients spend with me down. And I'm, very particular about it. And, but a lot of attorneys, this is how they make their living. They feed their families. And so in a lot of instances, they just do, it seems to me that, like I said, the inefficiencies that I'm fighting, they're also fighting to keep them there because it allows them to make more money.
Facts. Let me hit these couple slides. More meeting you. The government wants your data to be safe, so there's a compliance for judges in courtroom called CJIS. I got a video on that in my compliance. We're just going to touch it on a high level. So the government wants to make sure your data, your court calls, your PI, private information, is correct. And later on, we're going to talk about Tyler. It's a case management system that's used on a lot of people. It's got the CJIS compliance security on it, right? We're a cybersecurity channel. So we talk a little bit about security. So you don't want those systems to be easily hacked. And so CJIS, law enforcement need to be time secure, secure access to the service that provide data wherever. Whenever stopping and reducing crime in the response to these, they need a adversarial policy board. This is what the CJIS board has when they push down their policies. It's actually controlled by the FBI. The FBI is over the court system. It administers through a shared management philosophy. Policies contain information about security requirements, guidelines, and agreement reflecting of the law enforcement and criminal justice agency for protecting the source and transmission of your data, right? Because when they get those court documents, they go to the police, sheriffs, courts. The court moves a ton of data, even though a lot of stuff they put in the public domain, right? Because a lot of court cases are for public viewing too, which kind of surprised me. But so
it depends on the case, though. I mean, like if you got some mental health cases or some, so it can depend on the case as to whether or not it's sealed or, partially sealed, or whether or not it's in the public domain.
No, that's true. Let's read a couple of these.
So I saw, okay, so Adrian Dash said a life insurance policy will pay the beneficiaries by contract. That's true. Those benefits could be used to save the family home. And the example her honor was discussing. Well, I'm just gonna say this: when I'm getting very excited by the use of the term her honor, but it's definitely true. That's a great idea. Those benefits could be used to save the family home. The example. That's a great idea, Adrian. And all of that kind of discussion would come up in a conversation about estate planning, right? Where you're planning out how what accounts, life insurance policy needs to be set up, who are the beneficiaries, even planning or putting the house in the trust or whose name where you may not even ever have to go to probate or something like that. But though that conversation will certainly come up in the estate planning conversation. Great ideas, though. You're definitely thinking in the right direction. I'm claiming it for your honor. Thank you. Let's claim it.
Let's jump back on that because you see a lot of on Facebook, they flash your money one day, then we got to GoFundMe for paying for the funeral because we don't have life insurance as a group, right? So I don't know the percentage, but I see a lot of people ball, and then when they dead, we got to GoFundMe. So we got to make sure we pushing life insurance. Oh shit! Especially
even life insurance in a will or a trust. Even these celebrities aren't doing it, which is crazy. And Adrian says. She said the funny thing is she used to know folks when you say, and I still know folks, when you say life insurance, they think they're about to be dead tomorrow. And I think that's the fear, especially for a lot of Black men, in my experience, they don't want to have the conversation because I guess they think they're going to be dead. It's going to, they see their life flashing before their eyes. Someone named JM says he has an associate's degree, John, in criminal justice and a bachelor's in homeland security. Would those types of degrees be helpful when he transitions to a career in cybersecurity?
Yes, because what we talked about is case management system. You could go work for the what was the division you worked for? The clerk.
You talking about which you talking about the clerk in Cook County here?
Yeah, so you can work in the justice system. You can work for Homeland. Every state has a Homeland Security, JM. So yeah, that would definitely help. If you go look at the most big states, they have a division of Homeland Security in their state. So you can actually and Homeland Security is actually in charge of cybersecurity for the state as far as evacuation, disaster recovery. So JM, that should work.
So cybersecurity. You're saying that a Homeland Security office or division for the state would be would manage a cybersecurity.
They have a cybersecurity division because they actually manage it for the whole state. Like all the agencies in the state, like you got Department of Revenue, clerk, DNR, all those report to Homeland Security if there's a cybersecurity disaster for the whole state.
So my question though would be, if the state has that job, like how do you get that? How do you get access to that job? Because as you and I both know, unless you know somebody and know somebody,
Yeah.
you know, those jobs, a lot of those jobs, especially those state jobs in cybersecurity, especially, may be they may be already promised to somebody,
Oh,
but
facts.
they're not. They still have to post the job, you
Facts.
know, and they take resumes without ever any intention of ever, you know, really doing, you know, the interviews and giving someone from the outside the job. So how do you get, is there another, you know, because then I've gone after these jobs before, you know, I didn't get the job in the clerk's office because I applied, you know, like everybody else did. I mean, you know, I worked for her on her campaign when she ran for mayor. That was the clerk of the circuit court here. And then she asked me to come on board after we finished up that campaign. But you and I know it's hard. Even when the clerk's office would post jobs outside, I mean, those jobs honestly were already promised to someone else, an insider. So what would be the way that a person who has this, sounds to me like a great background in criminal justice and a bachelor's in homeland security would be able to go work for, get a job in cybersecurity, maybe for the state? Is there, maybe there's another type of job, which is like in a different division or department or title that would still give them the same or some experience, right? And maybe help them make some contacts and do some networking where they can transition into a cybersecurity role. I'm just trying to think it through from beginning to end.
No, and we talked about that too on Black Heights. But real quick, what she just said is, and she just really said the thing: when people run for political office, you know who's gonna win. You got to go help some of those people so you can get in line for those favors, right? You need to
Well,
figure
yeah,
out. So, and who
that's
did,
one
you
way
know?
to do it. I mean, that's one way.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, for me, I wasn't necessarily planning on going to work for
right.
the clerk's office. It just so happened that I did a great job and worked my butt off and went through a lot to you know, help her. And she, you know, wanted to you know, reward me, and she wanted me to work with her, right? So she offered me a job. So that's definitely one way to do it, is to help out on political campaigns, and to, you know, so do a lot of volunteer work. You know,
Right,
volunteer work can actually get you a lot of experience, right?
right in the
And you
door.
can find a lot of favor in doing that. Not even just for politicians, but even, you know, internship or something, or externship at a company, or even a law firm. You know, he was talking about, he's got criminal justice and homeland security, you know, even a law firm, or even like the clerk of the circuit court, or the I don't know where JM is.
Where
I
you
just
at,
know
JM?
I know how the Cook County court systems work. I know that we've got a clerk of the circuit court here. I know we have a chief judge's office here, two totally separate things. A lot of other agencies, even the school system. You know, and a lot of entities will have like a legal side and a technology side. And so depending on where you are, you know, we may be able to provide you with some other ideas about some other things you can do in order to, you know, get on a path to your career in cybersecurity. So
Yeah,
we want to see you win.
the good part about the AJM is kind of like she is. When something comes up, you have the qualifications to get it. So now, like she said, we just got to put you in position. So when you apply for those jobs, you qualify that you'll be in the queue, right? So
So King said it's Cook County, ma'am. I don't think so, King. I say Cook County. Cook County. Cook, not Cook. It's definitely a challenging county. I mean, I'm gonna tell you. Like I said, I'm not from here, but
did I
um,
miss it? I
yeah,
think you.
it was at the top. I just saw
Okay.
it come up. No, it's still up there. It says it's Cook County, but you know, politics. You know, politics can be a shady business now, anywhere. So I am one, you know, I tell my personal truth. I'm an honest person. I will definitely do full disclosure, you know, and speak my mind. But it's definitely challenging to, you know, work in the area of politics. But
King
it's
might
not
be from
all.
Chicago.
King is from Chicago.
No, I'm just guessing. I'm guessing.
Oh,
King, where you from? And put it in the box if you don't mind.
It says, King says, if that's the case, why do they allow cell phones to track everything that we do and let the company sell that data?
That's an excellent question. The reason why they get to do that is you like stuff for free. When you join
He's
Facebook, they
from the
don't charge.
South Side. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, go ahead. You good. You good.
I'm live on the South Side, King.
We
I'm
need your vote,
838.
King.
Yeah, votes for Mayor Judge.
Shout out to King. We have to have King bring some Chicago people
He says
to the
South
next
Side.
event. I forgot what I was. Oh yeah, that's because when you sign up for Facebook, it's free, so you agree. When you hit that agree button, there's 40 pages. You agreeing to that. When you sign up for Snapchat, you agreeing to that, right?
Okay, so he's up on John Grisham. Okay, I know exactly where that is.
Okay. Many people who paid as a result of inefficiency will push back so they can eat food. Many people were paid as a result of inefficiency. Oh, okay. The inefficiencies of the court will push back so they can eat. Now, that's true. Especially lawyers, they're pushing back. So those are the people that know the law. So that's true, Helvin.
We're trying to keep with the comments because we were talking. I think people were commenting.
Oh, it is. I always pause for a minute. Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah. So I'm pausing between slides now, catching up. My chat is kind of feisty. Shout out to my chat.
And I'm learning. You guys are putting acronyms in here. King said they posted for 10 days and then give it to their homies. I mean, look, I have no comment. I mean, I know that to be true, that has happened in a lot of situations, and not just in Cook County. Companies pay for lobbying, and that's big business. That's certainly true.
That's again, we got to get our packs together as a race, and we got to start packing and supporting the candidates we want to support. Go ahead, Hannah.
Somebody was saying that about putting a pack together. I just would like us just to get on one accord. It's hard to get Black people to get together to do anything. So, I mean, especially when it comes to money. So who is King? Who you are, King? That's what they did for me. They put some money together for you. Trust and life insurance. I mean, who is she? We here. That's a great conversation.
We doing that on Monday. I think we're gonna do it 2:00 on Monday, maybe. MLK Day. We're gonna do a trust and life insurance a class. So I think that's what we're gonna set up. We're gonna chat after this. We're gonna try to. I'm trying to set it up for Monday.
So John, Engineering Cannabis says, what are your thoughts on lawyers being experts in the area of AI and algorithms being introduced into the court systems?
Hold on, wait till we get there. You jumping.
Oh, okay. Am I going too fast? Y'all trying to get me? Yeah, I'm trying to keep up.
Now look at your phone. I'm showing them on the screen.
I see him on the screen.
Yeah, so I'm just doing them. Shout out to Sheed. He's doing the right thing with the 3 policies, 2 pies for his wife. Yeah, you got to get it set up for your kids, man. You're going to live a long time, but just in case.
Right, absolutely.
Shout out to Ty. Let's see, I'm blocking the Russian bot underneath. I got 2 Russian bots blocking them.
Okay, see, I don't know what that means.
No, that's a Russian bot. This is what you were reading. They posted for 10 days and what does that mean?
The jobs. They post the jobs for 10 days and then give it to their homies. Anyways.
Quick story is I was on shout out to Before the Billions, and that actually happened to me. I was at DOD and they wanted me to have the job. So he said if somebody had better qualifications for me, he was gonna pull the job back, wait till they go away and repost it back. So I was like, oh, now I see how this stuff works. So you're 100%, you're right, King, if you're on a good side. But I think that's only half the jobs, right? That's not every job, but that is a lot of jobs. Jerry, I'm late to the party. Shout out to Jerry. Yeah, we check it out on a replay. Just going over access to justice. That's my man. Oh, there you go. I'm finally the engineering cannabis. What are your thoughts on lawyers being experts in AI and algorithm? We're going to talk about that. I think that goes to the bail bonds and that type of stuff we've been talking about.
Yeah, I mean, certainly lawyers being experts in AI, that would be great. It's just, there are so few, I guess, in my opinion, lawyers who are experts in AI, artificial intelligence, and the algorithms being interested. So, I mean, it would be great for lawyers to be experts in the artificial intelligence or, computer science and software development.
Yeah, we trying to get computer. We just trying to get computer knowledge, engineering cannabis. We got judges saying they don't want computers on their. I'm sorry, judges. Yeah, judges don't want computers on their desk. Engineering cannabis going to AI. We just want some judges that has competencies in computers so we can optimize the flow of information in a regular courtroom first before we get to AI.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a good point, having the lawyers who have an understanding and have the background there. So when those algorithms rhythms are introduced, like for example, in the cash bail system, there's an understanding of what goes into that. And I'm sure you'll talk about that. You know, the algorithm is only good as the information, the data, the people who design it, and what goes in it.
Facts. I think you saw this where King's like, he's in Crook County. That's where you were at.
Yeah.
Shout out he about that Chicago life. Shout out to King. Engineering cannabis, great question. Those other judges can be crap. AI deciding sentences. How another list of worms.
Okay, wait. I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
No, I
didn't understand it.
He was just making a statement, really. They're my King on the south side. There where you were, Auburn Grisham. My favorite nice troll in the house, Snuggles. Meet my attorney, Snuggles. We bring in more women of color on my channel. We giving them a shout out. She's running for judge in Chicago, aka Cook County, Snuggles. So
yeah, I'm running in Cook County, countywide. So anyone who lives in Cook County can vote for me. You don't have to just live in Chicago.
I was Mill Tech. I don't know what that is. That's King. I don't know what Mill Tech is. That a location in Chicago?
I don't know what that means, King. Okay. I don't know what that means. You'll have to.
You have to extrapolate that, King, in the chat. Shout out to Ty, my man. That's what they did for me. Okay.
You're not going fast enough, John.
I know. Hey, I'm just gonna keep going till I get there.
I mean, Professor Black Ops. Guys, I call him John. I don't know nothing about no. I will say good. Professor Black Ops.
It's cool. That's cool. I'm cool with my government name. Let's see, King. There it is, King. They posted a job for a week. They know how we're going to
okay, so you know what the deal is. So that's why we have to really educate, especially the younger people, who are trying to get a certain job. That's why I was trying to come up with, some information and a conversation around, I don't want people to get disappointed necessarily if they're applying and they're not going to get, they never even get a call back or an interview. That could be a reason why, so, you have to come up with a different plan and pivot to do something sorry, John. I mean, Professor Black Ops.
No, you good.
I see you at Snuggle 6. Oh, okay, that's Adrian.
Those are people talking to each other. That's why I'm passing while you're still talking.
Okay.
Don't know to stop when it's on.
I've been trying to get in the VA for a minute, but now I'm with Accenture, so fuck it. Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Shout out to Accenture. Yeah, I'm thinking about going to Accenture or Price Waterhouse myself. I've been debating kind of what my next move is. Congratulations, King, on that.
Yes, definitely. Congratulations.
Salute to my favorite programmer in there, B2B and Citizen Lou, making it happen. Citizen Lou, we talk about access to justice, how to use computers, and we're going to talk about Zoom and security a little bit. Shout out to my man, Citizen Lou, brother in Mexico traveling around. I'm always waiting for you to say something intellectual, interesting, and Uber. Oh, that's Snuggles. Snuggles is a troll. Don't be letting her smooth you and trick you. Shout out, King is a military technician. I worked for DOD forever. She stole my thunder, teaching everybody French on her channel. So let me read these other 3 slides. Adrian John, it is. So let me read these 3 slides. They're talking about the percentages of people, issues with the criminal system and why they're trying to go access to justice. So according to the legal service system, the problem of access to justice has already reached critical proportion, with low-income Americans receiving inadequate or no professional legal help for 80% of the civil legal people they face.
Legal problems.
Problems. When you do the math on that factor, that factors in roughly 60 million Americans who were low-income families, around 7% of whom were in the household that faced civil legal problems. We're talking about 36 million Americans getting not getting what they need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you want me to read the next one?
Yep, I'm going. I got 3 slides in this.
You want me to read the next one, or are you having trouble?
No, I'm just
Okay.
struggling. I'm tired. I'm gonna struggle through it. I'm struggle streaming. That's what we do on YouTube. Every day ain't a good day. We're gonna
Okay.
struggle through it. The pandemic drastically exacerbated the need for legal help and strained the resources that did exist. In June 2020, LSC survey, Kentucky Legal Aid reported that the number of unemployment claims filed since the start of the pandemic was 3,471% higher prior than year 12. I think that's 12 months. Southern Louisiana legal system reported a 670% increase in requests for legal help with unemployment matters and almost 200% increase in evictions. We know they were trying to kick people out during the pandemic.
Yeah.
The widespread accessibility of video conferencing has made it so that people do not necessarily have to take time off to participate in a hearing or a trial. While the growth of alternative dispute resolution tools, e-filing, digital evidence platforms all have shown the potential to transform the courtroom, however, it took a pandemic for such technology to become commonplace. That's kind of what you said, and somebody else has said. I think Engineer Kennedy said the pandemic kind of pushed people to get into technology and forced the court
And
system to
forced them.
get
They
back.
closed the court system down here in Cook County for like 3 months. I mean, literally, no courts, nobody come to court. The jails, people were freaking out in the jail system. You know, it was madness for about 3 months. And then, they kind of pivoted to Zoom. I mean, literally, Zoom became very popular instantly, to have certainly civil hearings, not criminal hearings, per se, but Zoom civil hearings. But it was a hard pivot. It was hard to, and they still haven't gotten it right because the infrastructure really wasn't in place here. As you know, we had many conversations about just not having the computer systems, not having, for people to be able to work from home, not having the money to purchase them, just no planning around, and then around being able, allowing people to be able to work from home. And then you have security. Obviously, you have security to deal with, which is obviously your field. So that it was a hard pivot. Like it wasn't really a pivot. It was like a transition right into that, which took many, 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 many weeks and months. And then of course, dragged out the court system and hearings for weeks and months. I'm handling a case right now for someone whose case started over 2 years ago. And she says for almost a year, nothing was being done on that case at all. It just took a year for it to actually come up for a hearing. That's crazy.
That is
All the while
really
she's paying her attorney monthly for too. So, but yeah, so Zoom. I see you put the Zoom slide up. Zoom became hugely popular here in Cook County and in Marion County. So I haven't been back to court and physically in court for over a year. I still do my hearings. I may have one a week, one every couple of weeks, on Zoom, which I love. I love it.
Snuggle said it's always hard to get into the VA system, but one thing people forget is like we talked about, it's easy to volunteer and you could get in the system easily. It's all about who you make friends
Yeah,
with when you go
yeah. I
volunteering.
mean, I think the easiest way, especially if you're in a place like Cook County, where it's so political, there's so many political people, political campaigns. I mean, we're campaigning now for the primaries in June. And I mean, it's so easy. My campaign office is right down the street, right at 79th and Yates King. So anybody who wants to just walk up, or go to my website and volunteer, they can. We're going to pass petitions and get signatures. So I think it's a great way to, help out, volunteer for potentially your future employer or someone you may want to partner with in business even. It's a great way for them to get to know you, get to see what you're about, to see what you're capable of, what you can do. I invited my some of my family members, my nephew in particular, here from Indianapolis. He's finishing up his degree and then getting ready to go into law school next year. So I said, come up here, and help me. Just volunteer. I'm going to introduce him to everybody and anybody, from the mayor, the aldermen, other judges, other attorneys. So everybody, anybody, the clerk, the circuit court, everyone and anybody, Chief Judge Evans, we're going to go to town, and he's just volunteering, but he's got to put in the work, put in the time. So people can see what he's about. And, it can help to, help him to have a better understanding of even the area of law he wants to go into and what he wants to do. So I'm excited about it, as you can tell.
No, that's good. Helmet, put what the FANG recruiter said. I think I remember, but I don't want to mess it up. Put what the recruiter said in the chat, Helmet.
Oh, when they do interviews for minorities.
Yeah. I think I remember. I don't. That was on. I think that was on Black Heist channel, so I don't mess it up. Also with privacy with new tech like the metaverse, what are the laws that need to be enacted to protect consumer privacy and data? I don't really think they fleshed that out yet. Engineering cannabis, because that's artificial intelligence, augmented reality, robotics. So I think they're still fleshing that out from a legal perspective on that. I'm sure Congress is going to weigh in because Facebook is already running amok in the United States, and the government's not happy. So what's your take on that? I don't think they fleshed those out yet.
I mean, I don't know. I'm writing it down though, just so I can be kind of start to be more aware of what's going on there with regard to.
We're going to have a artificial intelligence, augmented reality session, along with a metaverse session, and those type of things. Engineering cannabis. I might invite you if you want to come up. We're probably going to do a separate one because that's going to go along with Bell algorithms. That's going to be in there with machine learning, artificial intelligence.
When he's saying he's asking us what are those laws that need to be enacted? Okay.
I know, that's what I'm saying. We got to do a little investigation from a high level. I think I know what they are. Sometimes Congress and the government's late most of the time when it comes to that.
So what you're saying is that on another show you're going to help him, or we are going to help him understand.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, you said you kind of think you know what they are.
Yeah, it's the same thing now. I think that you do now, because when you're going to be in a metaverse, they're actually going to take your biometrics to do a character to put you in there. If I got your facial recognition, I got your voice pattern, and I got your movement pattern, right? That's a distinct version of you, right? That should automatically be a trademark of you, and nobody can copy it, right? So I think those are some of the things they're going to start. That for me is privacy, right? If you do a character view and it's really you in character form, right? That should be trademarked to you. Should nobody be able to copy that, right? So I think those are some of the laws they're going to start putting in there, right? So if I'm in a metaverse, right, and it's a digital version of me, if somebody does a hate crime on me in a metaverse, is that a crime or is that a game, right? So I think those are some things you got to start figuring out and putting boundaries around, right? So some of that could be programmed. Facebook shouldn't let another character get more than a millimeter from you, so they couldn't fake beat you up. Then that wouldn't be a problem, right? Right. So those are some things you got to, from a government standpoint, you got to give Facebook some requirements like, hey, this is what we need you to do. If not, we're going to fine you, right? So I think there's laws and there's stuff, programmatically that we want to do. We got to.
But like you said, Facebook has been running them up for since its inception. So it'll be interesting to see how
they handle. Yeah. So I think that we're going to kind of do that separate, engineering cannabis, for you. Let me get back on this. Which one am I going?
There's some other questions that have come up.
Oh, I know they always come up. It's hard. Let me hit these couple Zoom slides.
Okay, you got some Zoom slides. Okay.
Yeah. Long story short, from a technology standpoint, Zoom has stuff that's solutions for the government. We were talking about CJIS. They made some enhancement for their products with encryption at rest, encryption in transit. So they got a high definition in video, any device and operating system. There's a security box. We really drill down that. Enhanced collaboration. So the next slide should be, like I said, I should have made that bigger, but protecting your meeting. They got security for your meeting, encryption for your meeting. You can create, like we talked about, breakout rooms with passwords, So they got a myriad of things that rolls up to see just to make it more secure for the courts. And a lot of people are doing telehealth too. I actually did my last doctor's visit on Zoom through telehealth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to make sure Zoom is equipped to handle those government regulations. So hopefully nobody steals your data, right? So we'll come back to that. Let's hit a couple more of these. I think we just hit that. Which part we just typed that. Salute to Game Over. Here's your boy King, Crook County.
You see, I can't. I don't know. He's still on top of that topic. That ain't working for me right now. I got to hold my head down.
Shout out to
I'm looking the other way.
King. What's her web? Yeah, drop your website in the back chat. There's a private chat, and I'll post it out.
Hammer for Judge. Hammer for Judge. Hammer for Judge. Hammerforjudge.com. Hammerforjudge.com.
Hammerforjudge.com. Oh shit! I shouldn't. Well, let me go.
There you go. That's it.
Okay. Shout out to Blind Guy, his wife, love. They got me trying to eat more vegetables in 2022. I'm failing, but they're helping me with my health. Basically, he gives harder questions to Black folks from HBAC. I think I did.
Oh, that's the interviewing.
Yeah, I expect that to be Helmet. Like we talked about, we got to do better, be better. So that's just something we got to accept and put in work. I know it's BS. I know it's, and to me, the Fang, I'm not trying to work for Fang. That's where the most money is. They're not really hospitable to a lot of people. There's millions of other jobs that make just as good money as Fang Helmet. So that doesn't, like I said, really, I guess bother me. I just expect that in my old age, to be honest.
You expect what? People to just come for you, come harder at you because you're Black?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Give others a pass, really, for the most part. Oh yeah, Helmet. I believe that because let's be honest, Black people are intruding the space, so they're gonna test you because there's no Black people there. So when you're the first one, they're gonna test you to make sure you really qualify to be there. Is that BS? Yes, I no doubt about it. Am I up for the challenge? 100%. Right. So. What about I don't know where you get. What is the context of insider trading? We can't do it, Helmet. She's gonna be a judge. We can't do insider trading. I work at companies. I know when I worked at companies. I worked at a Fortune 500 pharmaceutical company with Miss Hammer. I was in meetings at Lilly. I'm a Canadian company. They told you that they were telling companies they were about to buy. If I bought any of those companies and they found out, I would be fined and they would put me in jail. Right, so I don't do insider trading. I'm too fat to go to jail, Ty. so no, don't do it. Elaborate if that's something different, Ty. Yeah, the house just Sabina folks from Big Tech. I'm sure they gonna, which I think they should, but I think the house and those guys, they're trying to placate you. They really don't care. So, my 2 cents. She's sending out shout out to Blind Guy, his wife in their life. Go subscribe to them. Sort of like a human NFT. Facts. Engineering cannabis. There are laws banning facial recognition, some enacted in Chicago. There are ways to identify people of color with these algorithms 30% efficient. What are your thoughts? Is that 30% inefficient where they fail, engineering cannabis? When we're going to break that up, long story short, we talked about this before. Facial recognition fails 30% among Black people because they didn't get tested in the first facial recognition because it was done by Ivy League students. But go ahead on that.
Right. So it's like what you and I had, well, you had told me before, and I had said before today during this call was that it's the data end, and the people creating the algorithms and how they're created that really, you create a bad algorithm, a bad program, and the whole, color issue and people of color isn't taken into account. I was watching something, remember that clip I sent to you about these topics where the gentleman, I think he was a professor from Maryland or DC, where he was talking about these types of algorithms being woefully inefficient because they don't take into account, like a person of color, their hair, for example. Like, my hair is sort of natural here, and it's kind of just, up. So those kinds of things that are like specific to people of color, Black people specifically, aren't taken into account when you're creating the algorithm. So they certainly are inefficient, maybe even more inefficient than what you're saying here. So definitely don't like them as they stand now, just because of the people who are creating the algorithms. Same with cash bail algorithms. But I think John is wanting to discuss that too.
Yeah, and engineering cannabis brought up a good point. He says you should put those algorithms on the blockchain. Then other people like the professor can go out to review them to make sure they're programmed right, and we can test them to make sure they're doing a proper test right. If you have somewhere where they're open to the public to review on and hopefully make
and that's a good point, because one of the things this gentleman said was that, I guess they're paying companies money, right, to test them. And of course they're going to test them and say that they're okay because they're getting paid to test them and say they're okay, as opposed to doing it the way that you said that engineering cannabis suggested that they're done.
Yeah.
So that's a great idea.
Yeah, put them on there so then anybody can go out there and validate them, right? So
we should talk about that more in other types of programs, especially that law enforcement uses to profile, racially profile. So I would love to talk about that more.
Yeah, game over to the telehealth. This is the website. You can go check it out, especially if you King, I need you to be passing it out to your people, King, in Chicago. I need you to be working with me, brother King, man. I'm gonna roll up there and take you to dinner and lunch, man. I'm gonna come up there and help her out. So we're gonna have to meet up, King.
Thank you for that.
So I need you passing that around.
We need petition signatures.
Yeah. So just and I think King is a little younger, so we need you to passing it out to the young folks and getting them out, King.
Get out the vote. We need King getting out the vote.
Yeah, we need you sending out to your Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff, Snapchat, Twitter, whatever you got, King. I need you tweeting and snapping, all that stuff, King. I need you working with me, bro. MC Hammer, that's what we tell them your tagline.
I say it's Hammer time, but when I run it, and it's MV Hammer. My middle name starts with V, so I say all that when as I'm out on the campaign trail. I definitely make them help people to remember my last name is Hammer. I have a great ballot name, obviously, because it's, MC Hammer. Like you said, the whole Hammer time is Hammer time. Hammer don't hurt them. Stop, up the hammer on them.
Stop and vote. That's going to be
stop and vote. All of that. I'm using all of that. I'm using all of that. I like that when I'm writing that down.
Yeah, I just came up with that on the fly. I usually go into thinking things I have to overprove. Facts, Helmet. We got to overprove, man. You're gonna have to lead the way for everybody.
I have to do it. I'm running for judge. It's crazy. In my opinion, I have to definitely be the smartest person in the room, and I am. And the most engaging, the best at everything. Like you said, overprove.
Right. I like that word. Ty, I'm old. I pick my battles, Ty. Congress is a bunch of crooks, so if they insider trading, I don't really have a dog in that fight, to be honest, Ty. Like I told you, I'm 53. I got about a good decade left, Ty. I can only fight a few battles, Ty. I'm giving that one up, man. I'm giving that one up, Ty. I'm giving that one up, man. I'm on insider trading again. We'll have to catch the rest. Yeah, catch me on a replay, Helmet. If y'all know anybody in Chicago, I need y'all shooting that website to anybody in Chicago for me.
Cook County.
Cook County.
It's Cook County, it's countywide, so it's
Cook County.
so it's Chicago and all the surrounding villages like the village of Dalton and Markham, and I can't even think of them right now. Barnum, and it's like 19 different little villages around Chicago and in Cook County. Schaumburg, that's up north. Fairness and compassion for the underserved and underrepresented. I was like, who does that sound like? That sounds like me. That's me.
I like that blind guy, his wife in their life.
Yeah.
I might have to get on your show. I might have to get on your show, blind guy, his wife and life. What's your demographics look like in Chicago? Let me know if you got a little Chicago thing, blind guy, his wife in their life. Let me know. She would love to come on your show like she working for me. She would love to come on your show.
I'm awful. I love to do it. I would love to.
Heading to a website too. I'm back and sharing it. I appreciate that, Helma. Yeah, especially if you got people in Chicago. Salute to Hammer.
Thank you.
Adrian hit him with the hammer. So let me read these last 3 slides. I think just talking about. Did I read that? Well, I read that already. So I think we're good. I think that was.
Well, let me. The last part you did, and I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Many court systems transition to virtual services to allow litigants to resolve legal problems, negotiate settlements, file documents, and conduct hearings remotely. We definitely talked about it. That's certainly true.
Finish reading. That'd be the last slide.
So, however, in many cases, the transition to digital services created additional challenges and inequities that frustrated access to legal help in the courts. For example, people in areas of the country without broadband access, computers, or smartphones often struggle to access counsel in courts before the pandemic. The shift to an almost entirely virtual justice delivery system left many of these same individuals without access to vital resources and proceedings. Moreover, virtual court appearances and meetings proposed significant challenges for the effective dissemination of clients in criminal proceedings. I can't read that word. Representation of clients in criminal proceedings, where witnesses and juries often could not appear in a physical courtroom for trial. So yeah, I think I mentioned that earlier, and here I've talked about it a lot, but definitely, people right here in Cook County in Chicago, who the kids, for example, especially, just didn't have access to, the broadband services or the computer services they needed when we went to remote learning to be able to get access to the classrooms. So, it was an access to education issue. And then I know, people, who, especially, poor people who really, really couldn't get the phones or have a computer. They just, they were just left out of the mix when it came to, we went to a virtual society, really. And I know one of the slides talked about it. I don't know that you read it, but it just talked about, creating a lot of issues and challenges, even related to mental health, issues going into a virtual society. So it's the pandemic and caused some problems and forced the use of technology, certainly in the legal field, but for everyone, it forced the use of it in a lot of cases, especially in the case of it created some problems too. It created some inequities in those less fortunate and lower income communities. And so it's been a challenge. It's been shocking for me and quite sad for me, especially with the kids, because, going to that remote learning for so long, it created a lot of problems with the kids not having access to those systems. A lot of problems. Yeah, he says, engineering cannabis says, in terms of education, how do we educate new lawyers and judges about these new technologies that is seeping I think we definitely need to, have the courses. As a lawyer, I will say this: I'm required to take what's called CLEs, continuing legal education classes courses every year. I have to keep up with them. It's a lot of them, right? Or else I'll lose my license. So I take courses related to, and most recently related to, remote hearings, for example. How do you do it? So those are the kinds of ways that we can educate new lawyers, even existing lawyers, and judges. Judges are also required to take continual education courses. So that, to answer your question very, very directly, we're going to do CLEs and push those out and create CLEs, and I'll probably create CLEs for them because I do have the background, and of course, getting on the bench. I'm going to be, pushing for that on the bench. Once I get on the inside, I think I'll be able to do a lot more as far as reforming the court systems itself and the education. And so thank you for that conversation that I'm going to be now carrying forward on my campaign trail.
Oh, that's a good point to put that on the trail. That'd be nice.
Okay, she's invited. Our audience will love her, but we just asked to please hammer to hard up. All right, that's another one.
I'll link y'all.
That's what the other candidates be saying. Don't hurt them, hammer, don't hurt them.
I'll put y'all both on the email and link y'all up.
Awesome. You got CLEs too, Adrian. So you're paralegal?
She had it up in there. Let me see if I can find that.
It's good to meet the fellow awesome woman in the legal field. So nice to meet you.
Like I said, I had a few. What did I do with the one-offs? And I think we touched them all. So when you were at Cook County, you did the pandemic when people were asking time off. Can you touch that?
Oh yeah, that's Lord. I done tried to forget. So when I worked for the clerk of the circuit court, I was the deputy general counsel there, and I did labor and employment law. Had never done it before, but I'm smart. I have the capacity to learn, so I picked it up, and and worked in that field. The clerk of the circuit court employs over 1,400 employees. So and there's a union.
And so I'll be right back. Hold it down. I'll be right back.
Okay, so employment and labor law was something to do. In that role, I also was in charge of and managed the leaves, employee leaves, particularly related to the Family Medical Leave Act, FMLA. And when the pandemic hit, the law changed very quickly and temporarily as it relates to leaves and healthcare, as you can imagine. And so it was a challenge to manage that for that many people during a crisis. And so, but we did. We got through it. At least I got through it. And it was very, very challenging. I'm not sure exactly what he wants me to cover there, because there was a lot to it during that time. Some things have changed and settled down a lot related to that. But what did you want me to focus on there, John? Professor?
Just some high level, because I think some people are trying to still maybe get time off in a pandemic, and sometimes employers lead them astray. So just give them a website at least, because I know the law changes a lot, but I think employers be trying to give people false information, and there's other ways to.
Well, I'm honestly, I haven't been up on it. I didn't know you were going to ask me that question, but because the law has changed. I mean, FMLA is FMLA, but FMLA is not specific to the pandemic. The Family Medical Leave Act is if you have you or a family member, have health challenges and you want to take off from work because of those health issues, medical issues. And so there are some rules around that, like who a family member really is. It has to be a close family member. Like it can't be like a cousin or something like that. It has to be a parent, a child, a spouse, or someone who I can't remember what the law specifically, how it's stated, but I do know those are the very specific rules around the family members. And of course, yourself, if you have some health challenges, then you are the law, the federal law. There's a federal law called the Family Medical Leave Act, which allows you to take some time off up to a certain number of weeks, 12 weeks in most cases. And the law, requires your employer, certain employers, depending on how many employees are employed with different employers, as to whether or not that particular employer has to comply with that particular act, the federal law. So, I mean, it's a rule, related to that in those circumstances when you want to take time off. There's also, parental leave, there's leave related to, military people. And when the pandemic hit, there was an additional temporary rule called it was like the extended FMLA. And so it allowed you to take more time off than usual, than you would usually under FMLA, particularly in the case, if you contracted COVID, you got sick, and the federal government subsidized in a lot of cases those employers. Like I know here they subsidize Cook County to be able to pay you maybe 2/3 your salary even while you were off. So a lot of times people who had children who were at home during COVID were able to actually stay at home with their kids and actually get paid. It was hard though, because we were still having to pay people, but they were at home not able to work because the kids were there. And so the federal law, the United States Department of Labor was involved with all of that. The EOC for those individuals who were disabled were involved. So some individuals who had like pre-existing medical conditions like cancer may considered to be disabled under the new ADA guidelines as it relates to COVID, but under the old guidelines, not so much. So those are some of the laws that, as I understand it, were temporary, right? While COVID would hit, but just like the laws with the evictions and the mortgage foreclosures, the moratorium on those, just like those fell off in October here in Cook County, the local Chicago laws fell off, or the governor only signed the orders that extended to October here. I imagine, I'm not exactly sure, I can send you some information on that, on those laws that, those federal laws that may or may not still be in existence. So,
that's good. That's all I
yeah.
wanted to some high level, because like you said, sometimes it's specific to the state and the county, depending on how they want to interpret some of those too. I like engineering cannabis because I know you had some specific understanding of that, with Illinois being illegal and legal in cannabis.
Well, it's hard. That I saw that.
People with color, and the laws in Chicago were not favoring people of color. How can this be fixed? And I know
it's crazy, you guys. I mean, this is completely ridiculous, in my opinion. It just, to me, it just goes to show, how racism, just can exist, even. I don't know. I can't even talk about it. It's really not, because it's just so crazy to me. But racism in the cannabis industry, that's what it is. A lot of these people, like I was talking to a friend of mine last night, he says they have he's Black, but he and his partners have a conditional cannabis license. And so he said conditional because even though he has a license, and some people who are people of color may have a license, it's conditional. They can't even use it because there's all this litigation out there now around it that's been going on for almost over a year. And so judges are trying to figure out, it's left in the hands of the judges, right? It's left up to the judges now in those particular instances on how to maneuver this and who to give the license to, who to go ahead and grant the license. So it's crazy. So another reason for me to become judge, I guess. To me, it's crazy. To me, definitely, even just the cannabis laws changed did not really do anything to help Black people. Those people who were formerly incarcerated, for example, for those types of, for crimes related to, cannabis and drugs, aren't able to, now that they're out and have served their time, I know that they are not able to even work in the field and work around it and make a profit off. I don't understand that. I don't understand why. I talked to John about that the other day, or Professor Black Ops. I'm like, why come they can't work around cannabis? They already served their time. They already, how come they now cannot work at an organization, at a company that has a valid license and make a profit off of selling cannabis? How come they can't do that? It doesn't make sense to me. So there's this organization here, called Ex-Cons for Community Change and Social Change. I know Aaron Muhammad, they're trying, to speak out against that. I don't understand it. I mean, to me, it's just bold-faced racism. That's how I feel about it.
Okay,
and his question was, how can it be fixed? We have to keep talking about it. We have to keep, putting, making elected officials put their money where their mouth is, all that kind of stuff.
I'm putting your business out there. I know you were struggling to get your CLEs completed by the end of the year. So,
who, me?
Yeah.
Okay, why you saying?
She's talking about her CLE, so I guess
I did a CLE 2 days ago about an update on labor laws in CA. There was some federal information that's close to. Okay, yeah. So what did they say? I gotta go back and look at what the update on the labor laws. Okay, so you say you're an ASP. Wait a minute.
My fault.
I'm an ASP in estate planning with an MBA in financial planning. So you have a lot of knowledge right there. But you're in California. It sounds like you're in California, Adrian. That's cool. I'm sure you help a lot of people with that background. Calling the judge, chat with the judge. So blind guy, his wife, their life, he was the one talking about the Restream. I don't know what that is. So, okay, so you click on that link.
Yeah, that's the link to get up if they want to talk to you in person.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I dropped the link if they want to come up. Let's see. I think I got one more thing. I know you're a busy lady.
I have to go pick up my petitions so we can start passing petitions and get signatures tomorrow. We need 2,567 signatures. So we've got to get, our goal is to get 10,000 because they're going to try to kick me off the ballot.
Pandemics and evictions. I mean, we both do a little real estate. So what's your thoughts on pandemic evictions? I guess the rules around that.
I mean, the moratorium on evictions and mortgage foreclosures has been lifted. Yeah. I know for a long time, I know especially here in Chicago, renters could get assistance to help pay their rent if they couldn't pay it, because they had lost their job, maybe related to COVID. And I think that's great. I know for that mortgage companies also were able to sort of pause your mortgage payments. But I think that, I'm hopeful that, businesses will open back up and we can kind of get past this pandemic. It is hard for an owner, right, to not get any payment right from the tenant and still have to pay the mortgage. So those both have been lifted. The moratorium on evictions and mortgage foreclosures have been lifted. So as of October here in the state of Illinois. So, my advice always to renters and to owners of property, you need to talk to and communicate with your landlord or your mortgage company to try to figure out if you can work something out. And of course, when I get on the bench, that's going to be something that I will possibly have, because of my background in real estate, I could possibly be handling a lot of those kinds of cases, especially evictions and mortgage foreclosures, as well as probate cases. But, that's certainly something that I would take into consideration, and be able to use my judicial discretion, if you will. If a litigant came in and was faced with losing their home due to foreclosure, but I would think that if they had, contacted the mortgage company and tried to work with them, I would think that I would, be able to say, hey, well, look, let's give them some more time, or, whatever I could do within the realm of my discretion, to be able to help that particular person or those people in that situation, or even an eviction. So I think it's always great if an individual will try to work with and just communicate with, like I said, their landlord or their the owner of the property, the mortgage company. So,
engineering cannabis.
yeah.
Yeah, I think your other friend talked about that too.
Yeah, the lottery was kind of bogus. I mean, you had to have a lot of money to begin with to even, get in the lottery, and it was just, again, the lottery was utilized, system was utilized, licenses were granted, but they were conditional licenses. There was there's still litigation around it. So even though those licenses were granted, they weren't they weren't able to do anything. They haven't been able to do anything with those licenses. So it's been a mess. Even that lottery system, because like I said, to get in it, I think you had to have 100,000, 200, up, over six figures just to even get into the lottery. And so, how many Black people, how many people of color got that kind of money to be going into that way, It wasn't guaranteed. It was a lottery. So there's a lot of litigation around that now. So it's up to the judges to decide on who to actually, put the stamp of approval on those licenses that were granted. And it may take some time. It may take years.
Facts. The last thing, just give my high level of the class you're gonna do on Monday for estate planning.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. So real quick, Adrian says, please talk about judicial discretion. I did not learn about that in paralegal. We were taught that cases were discussed. So I didn't learn about it in law school either. Adrian, what I will say is judges are, obligated to write whatever the law is with. I hope my computer doesn't cut off because I'm losing power. With some discretion, judicial discretion. So, for example, I'm just making this up. There's a law that says that a person could get 5 to 7 years for a conviction. Just made it up, So, I'm a judge. I'm looking at the facts of the case, and within that framework, with my judicial discretion, I could give them 5 years, or I could give them 3 years, saying and say time already served, that kind of thing. So, but it would be up to, I'm upholding the law as I'm obligated to do, but because of I have judicial discretion, I can, give them the time that I think that they should receive within those boundaries in the framework of the law. Hopefully that helped. That's an example.
Come back Monday, we'll be talking about wills, estates, and planning, first class.
Okay, so John wants me to mention I will be here on Monday, or Professor Black Ops wants me to mention I will be here on Monday to discuss wills, trust, and estates planning. Monday is Martin Luther King Day, right?
Facts. That's what we're going to do. MLK special.
Yeah, MLK special, wills, trust, and estates planning. Is it an hour long? Was it an hour and a half?
Whatever you want to do.
Okay, because it can be a long conversation, but depending on how much knowledge people have about it, we can have a good conversation about it. So I look forward to that.
Figure how we're gonna divide it up.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think that's it. The judge is busy. She got to get her petition, so we don't want to hold her up. I want to appreciate everybody coming out. Like I said, this is my society and big thinking section of my channel. We're gonna do an MLK special on trust wills and estates. We tired of Black people losing wealth and houses and properties and stuff because we're not doing the basic things out there. So I want to thank everybody for joining me. I want to thank Ms. Hammer, future judge, for joining me. We got Brother King out there working. I'm going to track him down and see if we can make sure he can pass out. Everybody send out their links. Go ahead and close it out, Ms. Hammer.
No, I just want to say thank you so much. I really appreciate you for asking me to come on and talk about it and just putting the word out about my campaign. It's really, it's a hard thing to do. And I just am really appreciative of the opportunity, to be able to come and talk about it and to have all the back and forth in the discourse. Thank you so much, Adrian Nash, right, for your insightful comments. I appreciate you. Just give you my little thanks. And I guess I'll see you guys on Monday.
All right, we shut it down. Oh, she said I will try to come to meet her. Yeah.
I love that. I can't tell you. You're gonna make me get emotional.
So yeah, so maybe not today. Come Monday, Miss Nash. We shut it down. We both running out of battery powder. So you're gonna see it on a lot of channel. And like I said, I'm not selfish. So I'm Senator Blind Guy, his wife, B2B, just about 5 or 6 other YouTubers. She's gonna be on their channel. So because there's people with different demographics, different locations. So I'm gonna make sure she gets the YouTube rounds. Salute everybody. Thanks. You're going to see us on Monday. Check out the MLK stream.
Thank you.